All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we are going to continue our schedule breakdowns for each team in the NFL. And today we will be doing the Atlanta Falcons. So let's get right into their schedule. So let me change around a few things. So the Falcons, of course, their biggest move this offseason was getting Kirk Cousins for 4 years. And then, of course, they did go and draft a quarterback. But yeah, they have a quarterback change, and that was, one of the biggest weaknesses of the team last year. The biggest weakness on the team. And they're hoping that they could find some success this year, get back to the playoffs for the first time since I think 2018, I want to say. 2017, 2018, around there. Yeah, actually 2017, because they lost to the Eagles in the divisional round, and I think that was the last time they made the playoffs. So yeah, it's been a while. But now with Kirk Cousins in the fold, and the up and coming stars that they have on their team on offense, yeah, I think this team could get back to the playoffs. So let's kind of go through their schedule. So they start off the season at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a new quarterback themselves in Russell Wilson. So this game is going to be interesting. And then you also have Arthur Smith, who's now the offensive coordinator for the Steelers. He'll be going up against the Falcons, and he was, the Falcons head coach for a little bit. This is going to be an interesting game. I think this game's going to be close. I think, both quarterbacks might struggle a little bit because, trying to get their feet wet with their new teams. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the Falcons. I'm going to say they win a close game here. They start off the year 1-0. Then they take on the Eagles in Philly. I think the Eagles are going to be a better team this year. And I've said that all along. I think last year the collapse was kind of a fluke. And I feel like they're going to redeem themselves. 2 new coordinators. They did make improvements on the defensive side of the ball. They brought in Saquon Barkley. I think this team is going to be better. And, if you remember last year, Kirk Cousins played the Eagles week 2, and he played really well. They almost came back. Now, of course, that was when he was with the Vikings, so it's going to be a little different now. But I think the Eagles, being at home, I think that they will win this game here. So I'm going to take the Eagles. So the Falcons are going to drop to 1-1. Then interesting game. This is definitely a Sunday night game, and that is the Chiefs coming to town against the Falcons. Definitely could be a high-scoring game, but I'm going to have to lean the Chiefs in this one. So I'm going to take them. So the Falcons drop to 1-2. Then they take on the Saints. And, I feel like they could split. I think with the Falcons being at home, I think they'll win this game. So I'll take them here, even their record up at 2-2. Then they take on the Bucks. I think I said yesterday that they would split with the Bucks, so I'll give them a win here. So now they got themselves to 3-2, and now they take on the Panthers, and I think they should win this game. So I'll take the Falcons here. Then they take on the Seahawks. Could be a high-scoring game, but I'll lean the Falcons here as well. I'll give them the win. All right, so now what do I have them at? So I got them at 5-2. I think so. Yeah, I think 5-2. Then I said they would lose to the Bucks. They split with the Bucks, so 5-3. Cowboys game could go either way. I feel like they could win this game, but I think I'm going to give them a loss. So drop them to 5-4 on the season. Then at the Saints, I think I said they'd split with the Saints, so I'll give them another loss there. At Denver, I feel like they should win that game, so I'll give them a win. The Chargers, the Chargers, I think could be a sneaky good team, with Harbaugh in the fold. It could go either way. I'm going to say, I'll give them, I'll give them a loss. Then at the Vikings, you got Kirk Cousins making his return. I feel like I feel like the Vikings can pull off the upset just because hey, that's our former quarterback, and we're gonna want to come out and play a really good game to beat him. I don't know. I mean, it all depends on how J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold is playing. Because this is gonna be late in the year, so J.J. McCarthy most likely will be playing at this point. I'm gonna say I'll say the Falcons win. I'll say the Falcons win. Again, I mean, this is early. This is a very early schedule breakdown, so I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there. Then they take on the Raiders. Raiders play really well at home. I'm gonna, I'm gonna say the Falcons are due for a loss. I'm gonna say they lose that game. Giants come to town. I'm gonna say that's a win. Week 17 at the Commanders. I mean, we'll see at this point how Jaden Daniels has been playing. This is another former team of Kirk Cousins. I say the Falcons win there as well. And then I think they win against the Panthers week 18. So, I had them winning against the Steelers. I had them winning against the Saints, the Bucks, the Panthers twice, the Seahawks, the Broncos, the Vikings, the Giants, and the Commanders. So I think they have them at 10 wins. So 10-7. I think that's fine. I think that's fair. Like I said, the Cowboys game I feel like could go either way. The Chargers game could go either way. I gave them the win against the Vikings. The Raiders, I said they'd lose. They're going to lose one of the two away games, either the Vikings game or the Raiders game. But then they kind of have a soft finish to the schedule, last 3 games against the Giants, the Commanders, and the Panthers. So I think those should be all wins. So yeah, at that point, yeah, we'll see. But then I had, like I said, I had them splitting against the Saints, splitting against the Bucks. The Seahawks, I mean, that game could go either way too. The Seahawks have a good offense. Week 1 could go either way. And who knows, maybe they could pull off an upset against either the Chiefs or the Eagles. We'll see if that Eagles defense really is improved. Because like I said, Kirk Cousins carved up that defense last year. But it's different now. And then against the Chiefs, it's a home game. So they got 3 straight home games from week 3 to week 5. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But I expect the Falcons, to be the favorites to win the division. Because that's what was missing last year. And if they had better quarterback play, they probably end up winning the division. They split. They lost a close game to the Bucks at home, and I think if you had a Kirk Cousins at quarterback, you probably win that. Also, I mean, let's not forget another game against the Commanders. I mean, he had Desmond Ridder. I think he threw like 3 picks in that game, and that was a close game too. They lost to the Cardinals with Kyler Murray coming back, his first game. Yeah, they lost some. They lost some close games, and with the better quarterback, they definitely get a few more wins. So, we'll see how it goes. But I think, 10-7, I think, is definitely doable for them. And it all depends on how Kirk Cousins plays because, he's coming off of a significant injury. And, there's definitely going to be some rust. But I think ultimately he's going to have a good year. And I think the Falcons are going to have a good year. And they're going to have their, I don't want to say their best season in a long time, but I mean, compared to what's been going on to them recently, yeah, it's going to be, I guess, their best season since, making the playoffs, making the playoffs. So, but we'll see how it goes. I know I saw Bijan Robinson. I think he was saying that they're going to use him more like how, I think it was how the 49ers used Christian McCaffrey, which that's a good sign for him. That means he's going to have a good year. And also, for fantasy purposes as well, if they're going to be using him like that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Falcons. What kind of season do you think they're going to have? How many games do you think they'll win in 2024? Like I said, I have them right now at 10-7, so which I think is doable. So, before we go to break, just want to remind you guys once again to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure to go to the following link. That is GSMCPodcast.net. Again, that really helps the show, makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is GSMCPodcast.net. And as always, it is displayed on the ticker at the bottom of the show segment down below. So when we come back from our second break of the show, we'll talk about some comments made by Chris Harris about Justin Herbert. And I'll talk about, whether I agree with him or not. So that's what we will get into when we come back from our next break. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.